Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the RB Leipzig preview. Manchester United's final group game against the German outfit. Joining me are two titans of the Manchester United fan base, Mr. Joe Smith.
How you doing? Great to have you back in the studio, Jay, after your 2-week absence self-isolating.
Isolation.
He's
Precautions.
been fine, but yeah.
I'm all right. I've not got it.
No.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I haven't. And also, Mr. Adam McCullough.
Energy.
I know this is your favourite show, Adam, because your favourite show is Premier League. Me and Joe.
Premier League Piss Take is the greatest show on YouTube, the greatest show on Stretford Paddock. I think it's replaced Uncensored as the staple of this channel.
That's a joke.
And yeah, I can only see great things for the pair of them.
Yes, onwards and upwards. Talking of onwards and upwards, let's get into it. We're going to be looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's quotes because we've had his press conference today where him and Harry Maguire have been speaking to the media ahead of the game. We're also going to be looking at the opposition and what it would mean if we don't go through and also if we do, because it's a big week this week, isn't it? It's not just the Leipzig game, which is obviously what we're going to be focusing on, but we've also got that mob from down the road, City, later on as well. How important is it, I'll start with you, Joe, that we get a result, we don't get beat, and we go through, we stay in the Champions League, and then we can kick on and take that into the City game as well, because this is I know we say this all the time, but it is a big week for Manchester United and for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, it's massive because we've just got things a little bit back on track in the league. We started with 15th after 6 games, all this sort of thing going on, and the negativity and the problems that we were clearly having in the league. We've got 4 wins on the bounce in the league. We've just turned around that form that seemingly was becoming a bit of a concern in the league, and we've let it slip in the Champions League. So we need to get through. I think obviously we only need a draw is what I was going to say, but I almost hate that even more because when you know you need a win, you attack and you keep attacking. When you know that you need a draw, if the game, we blow the whistle, it's 0-0. If it ends 0-0, we're through. That's such a weird mentality for the team to be in. You saw it against PSG where we let them have the ball and then we waited until they scored before we really did anything. And by that time, 3-1, they get the last goal. So it's massive. And like you said, leading on to the City game as well, it could be a bit of a snowball of results here. No Christmas pun intended there, but we need to get through the group. We started so well beating PSG and Leipzig back-to-back. For that to all have been for nothing would be really difficult, I think, and probably hard for the players to take. And as you're going to mention, the injuries we've got as well, you need momentum, you need confidence, because otherwise things can start to crumble.
They can. As I mentioned, Harry Maguire was speaking alongside Ole to the press. He said, one of his quotes was, "We're working hard. Consistency has been a lot better of late. We feel ready. We are prepared. As players, we feel that from when I joined, the progression has been steady and we are getting there more. The belief is a lot more than when I joined. I always believe we are going to score." So he's talking about belief. Maka, we seem to have been in this position before where Ollie's under pressure and it's like, if he loses the next 2 games, whatever, his job could be in trouble. Do you think he is under pressure? Do you think he needs to get a result, not just in the Champions League, but also going into the derby? Or do you think that, he's here for the season no matter what?
Any Manchester United manager is under pressure.
Right.
So, of course, he's under pressure and he'll be feeling that pressure.
Good point.
I also think there's added pressure from the fact that you've now got a team that, I don't think you had the ideal summer this summer, but you've had 2 big transfer windows where you've been able to bring in players. The squad should be in your image a little bit more. But I think the question you're kind of asking is, if we don't go through in the Champions League this week and we lose against City, is his job on the line? I think we could lose both games and he doesn't get sacked. I don't think he's in that position at the moment, and I think rightly so. I think when you look at over the course of the last year, the way the season has gone, obviously in the short term hasn't been great. It's been up and down, inconsistent, but I think generally speaking over the last year, we have shown strides towards the right direction. So I think based on that and based on the work he's done last season, I think he's bought himself a little bit of time, even if that is until mathematically you can't get top 4 or until the end of the season. I think this season is make or break for him, but I do think he's got and has earned more time than just, you're not through in the Champions League, you lost against City, fuck off then. I don't think that is going to happen, and I think the nature of this season being such a close one where loads of teams will drop points means mathematically it's going to be possible to get Champions League football for longer into the season means I think that decision could get held up as well because we know how United work. I think to tell the future, look at the past, it kind of will dictate how the future will go. And I think United have shown you that they will pull the trigger if Champions League football isn't possible. And I think that's where Ollie is at the moment. That's not to say we should be in this position. And I think that's a big disappointment, like you said, to have started the campaign in the Champions League so well and to then tail off towards the back end of it. This game is massively important. To go out from here would be unforgivable. Like for the players, for everyone involved, you can't be going out after you win your first 2 games, especially the hardest games that we had.
And we needed 1 point from our last 2 games.
But I do think
you've got to be getting that.
I do think that I know how you said coming into the game and you don't know whether a 0-0 is good enough. So how do you play? It's not good enough for Leipzig.
Exactly.
And that actually could help Manchester United.
100%. 100%. Maguire was talking about belief. Ollie has this knack, doesn't he, of when Marcus talked about it, he's always under pressure, but we've been in this position before where it's like, you remember when we were going into the Spurs and the City game, when it was Jose and then it was City away and people going, if we don't get a result in these 2 games, he's going to be in real trouble. There's been other situations where you think he's, we need a result here. He seems to be able to do it, doesn't he? He seems to be able, when he's really under pressure, to get a result and to sort of, buy himself more time or build a little bit more confidence. Do you share that same belief that Maguire was talking about? Do you think that Ollie can do this and keep going and sort of get the results that we need, especially this one in the Champions League? Because, as you've both said, the start we had, now you're looking at it thinking, come on, we should be going through.
I think, we will. I think Ollie can do that for this team. I think we've seen that he does do that for this team. He does get results out of them in big games. And again, as Adam said, if you look from, I think, the end of January till now, which is getting close towards a year, 10, 11 months? It's been a long time since the end of January. We are top of the league in terms of points won in the Premier League. Obviously, the Champions League is a different thing, but you don't win a trophy between January and December, or it takes the full season starting in September, ending in May. But the fact is, we are more consistent than we have been. The results are better than they have been. We are as good and have been as good as anyone in the league for the last 10 and a half months. That's really good, but it doesn't win you anything. And we saw three semi-finals last season where we didn't show up in any of those big games. That's one thing. We talk about these big games, the likes of Everton, the likes of City, the likes of Chelsea, where we play in these games. You think, is he on the ropes here? And we win well. But the ones where we actually could have gone on to win a trophy, we were shocking against Chelsea. We looked tired and sluggish against Sevilla. And the first half of the first leg against City in the League Cup, the tie was already decided. So it's not like we turn up every time. I just think that we're quite good, and he's made us quite good, because it's not, for me, it's not like we try harder against Everton than we did against, who was it we lost to before Everton? Tottenham or whoever it may be, Crystal Palace, whoever it is. I don't think we tried any harder in those games, or Istanbul. I just think we're inconsistent, or that the players aren't that good all the time, and that when we do change, we don't look great. And sometimes we're not quite there yet, but we are better than we were, and we're consistently better than we were. So I think Ole's improved the team.
I read a good article by,
it's as simple as that.
Anchor in The Athletic over the weekend. I think it was Carl anyway. Apologies if it was someone else. And it was about United and their inconsistency. And it was like, are we inconsistent?
Yeah.
Because maybe we are actually consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is with United is we will get many chances and we will present opposition with chances. Who's going to take the most of them in the games? Yeah. And I think Ali alluded to it in one of his post-match interviews where he said it's always about the fine margins. And it's more the case with Manchester United. It's like, if we miss our chances and the opposition take theirs, we're fucked. Like, I know that's how football goes, generally speaking, but like, we always create chances. Yeah. We always concede chances. We consistently do that. We are actually very consistent. Now, I do think you can improve certain things by having other players in certain positions. Maybe you improve the defence. Maybe, you improve at fullback, whatever. Maybe you improve in midfield, and that helps the defence. And of course, when the likes of Anthony Martial aren't in form, your main strikers, that's going to have an impact on your team. So I do think actually, and that article was maybe something that actually triggered, like, actually, yeah, that sounds right. Like, we are pretty consistent in that sense that what United's going to turn up. It's whether they're going to put the ball in the onion bag or not.
It's true that, because even you look at the West Ham game, you can almost I don't know what the exact stats were, but it felt like there was chances for both teams.
Yeah, Bowen had a great chance. Haller had a great chance around the goalkeeper. They had a lot of good chances, but it's like you said, we'll have 15 shots, 6 on target most games, United.
Yeah.
And if we score 2 of them, we win. If we score 1 or less, we don't. It's pretty much as
and
simple
then
as
such a long
we'll
time.
let
Remember
them
how
have
many times
chances.
through Van Gaal, Mourinho, and this isn't a dig at either of them, although it kind of sounds like it is. We'd have games. United never had a shot today.
Don't start me on that.
Or we
1
didn't have
or
a shot
2
on
shots
target.
on target. Yeah.
You know,
it's
Van
like-
Gaal. What was it? No.
But Mourinho as well.
Yeah,
Like, it was
no,
both
you
of
know,
them.
Goals
but-
at home under Van Gaal.
Mate,
though.
I didn't see a goal down men for 3 months under Van Gaal. It was
Yeah.
horrible. We were
That was-
playing like Scrabble
that was
at
around
half.
that
Well,
December,
not half
wasn't
time during the game.
I just say that December to
Yeah.
describe that part of like, oh
It
god.
was horrible.
Do you
Awful.
remember? No
December,
goals in December. Yeah, we remember that.
We can still end up in the Europa League, can't we? There is a scenario where we somehow end up Thursday nights, Channel 5,
Well, I mean,
as they
it's
used to say.
as simple as lose this game and we're in the Europa League.
Is that a disaster? Is
You
it
could have
that
Real
bad?
Madrid,
Is
That's
that
a
that
disaster.
bad?
That's a
United,
disaster.
Like,
Tottenham.
That's a disaster.
is it?
That's a disaster. It's not easy to win, so there's no guarantee of trophy at the end of it. When you lose, inevitably, which most of the time you do, you look shit because you've lost to someone who isn't even in the Champions League. It takes games out of the week. It squashes everything up at the weekend because at least when you're playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, you've got 2 or 3 like Thursday, Sunday. You're playing Thursday, Sunday. It's horrible.
I don't want it.
I hate it.
Oh, yeah.
It's we've won it now. There's no. I mean, the only benefit from the Europa League is if we win it, it is a trophy that Ollie's won, and he needs trophies. But it's such a distraction. There's no real fun in it. There's no real joy in it. You end up. Are we resting players for this because it's shit? Like we've got. Do you know what I mean? But then you can still on any given week get knocked out to Shakhtar or Olympiacos or Sevilla or Inter Milan or Madrid, whichever one of those two end up in there. It's not easy to win. There's no real joy in winning it. It's shit. We need to. I don't even know if Istanbul can finish
It's a
above
part
us,
of the reason
but
why
we
I
have to
think
not be in
Spurs
that.
Hang on a
Really?
minute.
Yeah, maybe.
Stop sitting on the fence. What do you really think about it?
When you qualify, let's say you're only good enough. You finish 6th. If you finish 6th one season, you think we weren't good enough for the Champions League. Let's have a European trophy. Fine. When you finish 3rd and 2 months later you're in the Europa League, it's devastating.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Do you remember what we used to think about the Europa League? It's like Middlesbrough and Fulham would
Yeah.
make the final.
Yeah.
Fulham
We'd
got
be
to the
like,
final.
oh,
under
Roy
Leicester.
Hodgson got the England job off the back of it.
Listen, we got to the final. Look.
Yeah.
That's how we.
When
dream.
Liverpool won the treble, FA Cup, League Cup, Europa League, UEFA Cup, you were like, piss off. That was 2 years after United won ours.
Fergie didn't. We were in it with Fergie, and he didn't really take it seriously.
No.
I
I
remember.
remember we played Ajax. And we had Herrera up against Pogba in midfield, which was class anyway. But I remember Bielsa's Bilbao just battered fuck out of us in the
That's
Europa
what I mean.
League.
It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's
No,
hard.
it's not.
It's right hard to
And
win
it was
it.
teams like
Do you
that
know-
take it seriously.
Yeah, was it? We played when we won it in the semis. Was it Celta Vigo? Last sec,
Yeah,
like when
yeah,
you had that chance,
that
right?
bald fella that
yeah,
played for City,
yeah. I
wasn't it,
can't remember his name.
Mr.
I want to say Gundietti or something like that. but
Guidetti.
Guidetti,
thank
John
you,
Guidetti.
Thank you. But yeah, it's like it's such bad margins.
Yeah.
And then when we won it, like, great, we've won it now. Don't ever want to come back in this.
Yeah.
And then we've
I
been
mean,
back.
we won it. Pogba scored a goal in the final. No one gives a fuck.
No.
No one says, I remember Pogba scored. He says, fucking Pogba shit.
Yeah. European. Yeah.
We should do what Lee Martin does.
Nobody
We can't have
even
that.
cares.
We can't be having that.
No.
If that was a Champions League final, Mkhitaryan's still here off the back of that.
Of course he is.
You know what I mean?
Do you know what?
Pogba
Then
can
again,
do no wrong
if
because
Mkhitaryan,
I had
one of the
such
reasons
hopes
we
after
were
that
only in
final.
the Europa League final is because Mkhitaryan was
He
there.
only turned up for those games.
He's great.
He cared about the Europa League. He was like, I want to win this, and he did. To be fair,
he got a dig the other day. Did you see that?
what an actual smack in the face. Why? That's a
We
bit
were playing against
like,
Roma the other day.
it's
He
like-
got a dig though.
punching your grandma and punching Henrik Mkhitaryan. He's the most inoffensive player. I think
Remember that
there
picture
is.
of him just sat on the bench on his own at the training
The
pitch?
worst thing he ever did was help us get Alexis Sanchez. That's to be fair. That was the only mistake we made. It wasn't really his fault. Talking of Mason Greenwood, Ollie's been speaking about him.
Were we?
See how I did that? Seamless.
Yeah.
Ollie's been saying Mason is
Shameless, maybe.
Someone sat at home like, they've just cut a bit out.
They haven't
They
cut
haven't.
out. That's
We just
how
weren't talking
terrible
about Mason
I am
Greenwood.
at doing links. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been talking about Mason. He says, Mason is a very talented forward, one of the best I have worked with. He creates chances for himself and we have a great chance of scoring goals. He will only improve with people around the team and it's exciting to work with him. Now, we know that there's no ending to Cavani. I know we're going to get into the predicted 11s later. There's no Anthony Martial, so we expect you'd see Mason and
Your
Marcus.
segue there could have been...
Right, listen, you do enough presenting.
Talking about a
and
striker that
do as much
actually
presenting.
scores goals.
Right, yeah.
Mason Greenwood.
But we're not going to do it again, and I don't want this editing. Do not edit this. This is staying as it is. I've done it my way, right? You do it your Premier League piss take, every way you want it, right?
Right,
Anyway.
it's just presenting.
Yeah,
That's what
well,
it's
some
called.
of us have had other jobs when you've been out presenting.
Raising kids.
Yeah. And I've been in
the drug
isolation
abuse.
for 2 weeks. Have you
Yeah.
forgot about that, Macca?
Yeah.
And the drug use for 7 years, which you don't need to go into. A man can change. Anyway. There's no anything about it.
Speaking of change, man,
Yeah.
Mason Greenwood's come back to form quite nicely.
Nicely done, Joe.
And he got his goal at the weekend.
Yes. Like, we know there's no Cavani. We know there's no Anthony Martial because they're both out. It's probably going to be Marcus and Mason. Longer term, do you think that could be an option? Or do you think we're always going to have, if Edison Cavani or Anthony Martial are fit, one of them's always going to play? Do you think there could be a forward front two? And that could be it.
I think if we play 3-4-1-2, 4-4-2 diamond, you can play a front two. It depends. I don't like Mason whenever he plays in a front two because I feel he gets isolated and locked out of the game quite a lot. Now, that could be because when he's played there, he hasn't been fit. So I'm maybe being harsh on him. And, it may be something that he can get to grips with. But for me, Mason and Marcus are better suited with someone in between them. Obviously, Martial's out of form at the moment, so if that's Cavani, Martial, or whatever, you can take your pick. Obviously, we can't at the minute because they're both injured. But that's where I would go. Now, my team, my 11's a bit interested in that. I haven't picked Mason Greenwood.
Controversial.
I haven't picked him for this game. And that's because I think with Cavani and Martial out, to have Mace on the bench would be useful.
What do you reckon, Joe? Do you see a future at Manchester United where it's a front two like old school, or do you think what Mac is saying there, you're always going to have, or those two players in particular play better with a central striker?
I think they both do, especially Mason at his age and his experience. I think he benefits from the natural space you get when you play out wide. There's a slot for you on the side where it's you against the fullback. I think he's suited better. It's a slightly more simple introduction to the... Not that it's...
I think he will be a 9, though.
Yeah. Not that it's any
Eventually,
more of an easy job playing in the wing. You've still got to create chances, go past your man, get goals, get assists. But when you're playing up front, you've got anything from 2 centre-backs or a centre-back and a full-back or a centre-back and a defensive mid, or there's so many different options and different types of obstacles you have to face that are slightly simplified by being on the wings, which I think has helped him come into the team. And obviously that's where the space has been on the right-hand side. I kind of agree with what Adam says, that sometimes when he's playing up front in the 9 at the minute, or as one of 2 who are playing split strikers or whatever you want to call it, he has looked a little bit more... not lost, but he doesn't get involved as much, and I think his link-up play from that position hasn't developed as it would have done if he'd been playing there the whole time. I just think that, as Ollie said in his quote, he makes chances for himself, which I think is such a massive quality for a player to have. I think Cavani doesn't really do that, and not that that's a weakness of him. He's got 350-odd career goals. When you've got great players around you and you're a great finisher, you don't need to make the chances yourself. But in a game like this, where it's a one-off, we need to win this game, someone that can stand up his man, do a step over, knock it past him and stick it in the bottom corner, or as we saw the other day, half dummy with the touch, smash it across goal like he did against West Ham. Someone like that is invaluable in these sorts of games because he doesn't need many chances and he can make one for himself. So I think we will see him. I've got him in my lineup, which we'll go over in a minute. But I just think almost when you talk about the 2 strikers, it makes you realise, I know the game was different, but just how good Paul Scholes and Roy Keane were, that they could just be 2 midfielders, 2 outside midfielders. I know they weren't traditional or they weren't the modern inverted forward wing or whatever you want to call them with Beckham and whoever it was on the left-hand side at Giggs usually. But it just shows you how those 2 players could hold down that midfield. You wouldn't really trust any 2 of our midfielders to do that now. And I don't think we will see that for long term. It has changed massively.
I think football's changed massively, and I do think if we had, it's a weird thought really, how would the 99 team set up now? I think you see a 4-3-3 with Keane, Scholes and Beckham.
Beckham is your
I think Beckham becomes your 3rd midfielder.
Giggs is
Giggs is your part of your front 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe Solskjaer on the
Yeah,
right.
you could have Beckham.
Solskjaer used to play on the right when Beckham... Remember when Beckham dropped out?
Yeah.
Played on the right wing. Solskjaer scored like 15 goals that season. You
didn't.
put him on the right, Cole or York through the middle. We wouldn't play a 4-4-2 if that team was now. Is my point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
But look back to Mason Greenwood. I think Murder Mace is ridiculously talented, or Money Mace if you want to call him that. Whatever Mace thing you want to use.
Marmite Mace.
No, that
Why
wouldn't
not?
work.
What's up with that?
Because people only love him.
It was a bit yeasty.
Fortnum and Mace.
What?
A bit elegant there from Jay.
I'm a culture man. That's where I shop. None of this. Just
What'd you
Aldi and Netto. Fortnum and Mason. It's a posh shop where I go to for my stuff, my scrons.
I haven't got a clue
For me,
about
scrums. 18 quid on a lunch he spends. Bless him.
that. Yeah, ridiculous talent.
It's like John Lewis.
What I like about
for
Mason
posh
is,
people.
in some ways, he's almost
John Lewis for posh people.
honestly,
It is. It's ridiculous. I've only heard of it. I've never been
It's
there.
like Harrods, Fortnum and Mason, John Lewis. Waitrose.
Jay walks past.
They don't even let me walk past.
It's one of those places.
Kids look at
no,
it, he's like,
yeah.
fucking don't look over there.
Forget about that. Try to keep it on topic, whatever the topic was. With Mason, what I like about him is he spoke about even when he's not playing well, he only needs that half a chance, doesn't he? And he's just he's clinical. He's almost a little bit like the opposite of the way it's going for Anthony Martial this season. Because I think Anthony Martial can have some decent games. People say, "Oh, he's been terrible this season." He hasn't, but he's just not getting.
He's
any
going through that
chances.
spell, innit?
Yeah. Whereas Mason can have a bad game and get a goal, and it's like,
I think that's
You know,
because he's the best finisher at the club.
oh yeah.
And that's not to say Martial's a bad finisher, because I think Martial's not far behind him. He's usually very, very clinical with his finishing. But Mason's finishing ability is incredible. And it's not only that goal the other day, I'm upset that on the watch along, I thought his first touch was a miscontrol. Because when I've watched it back over and over and over and
As you
over,
do.
because that goal deserves it,
Of course.
it's like his body's gone that way. His foot's gone to not. He knows what he's. Everything about him, he knows.
Just
what,
to create
it's
half a yard of
Bergkamp-esque.
space, yeah.
It's Bergkamp-esque. I know people compare him to Robin van Persie as a Dutch striker, but that's Bergkamp-esque.
Yeah,
That
gorgeous.
knowledge and that
But
to be able
difference
to
is
use your body
Mason
in that
meant
way.
to do it. Oh, that's the difference.
Yeah, Mace meant to do it, unlike Dennis Bergkamp. And yeah, incredible striker, but not in my 11.
Not in your. We'll get to your 11 in a minute. Let's start with you. Who's in your 11, Joe?
I've got De Gea in there. I've got Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, and Tellez. I think that kind of speaks for itself at this point, doesn't it? I wouldn't expect anyone else in that. I've gone for a diamond, mostly because of the lack of Martial, of the lack of Cavani. I've gone with McTominay, Van der Beek, Pogba, and Bruno. Obviously, Bruno came on and was sensational and turned the game around against West Ham. And then I've gone for Rashford and Mason up front. I think we tried the diamond against Leipzig last time. Obviously, Rashford got his hat-trick against Leipzig off the bench last time. My one concern is, and it's similar to what Adam alluded to with his, when he suggested what his team was going to be, I do kind of worry we don't have many options off the bench with this. But when you've got Martial and Cavani out injured, unfortunately, you're not going to have many options off the bench. You can't just have an endlessly deep squad full of world-class players to keep on the bench when two of your other strikers are injured. This is why you have the likes of Cavani and Martial in the squad, or Cavani especially, because even when they're injured, you've still got Mason and Rashford. So we need them to be good. But yeah, I've gone with that. I think Ollie seems to like the diamond, and I think that's the best way of getting the most good, fit players on the pitch at the same time.
Yep, I kind of agree. My team is very similar to yours. Maka.
I like that. David De Gea in goal. I've gone with a back three. Lindelof, Tuanzebe and Maguire.
Oh.
Tuanzebe back from suspension.
Jay's had a fall off camera.
Oh,
I've gone.
Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, Scotty Tuhati, Paul Labil Pogba and Alex Telles.
Nice.
Van der Beek behind Rashford and Bruno.
Oh, so
Wow.
Bruno. On the graphic, you've got Bruno almost as a striker. I take it that isn't.
Yeah.
Well, just up front.
He plays there sometimes when we play the diamond anyway. Have you seen? Did you watch the? Any of you
Was
been
he a
watching?
striker though? He's
Bro,
more like.
we played against Arsenal with the diamond. He was further up front than Rashford and Greenwood, or whoever played up front that day.
I like it. I like that.
We win with that.
We haven't played.
You got Donny.
back three. In
You
a
got
bit, though.
Paul. You got Scotty. You got Bruno. You got
Go on.
Marcus.
You got
And that's with
Got David.
Victor. Victor. Go on then. What you got, Jay?
Mine's more similar to yours, Joe. I've gone with. I think I've gone with Henderson. in goal. And I've gone with back four. Actually, that needs changing because is that Shaw there? I can't even see.
Yeah,
it is. So it doesn't need changing then because it is Luke Shaw. Yeah, I've gone with Luke Shaw, Maguire, Lindelof, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I've gone with Nemanja Matic in the holding midfield. It is a diamond as well.
Is Shaw fit?
He said he's going, didn't he, today?
Right, Luke Shaw said
he's in the squad.
Yeah, he's in the squad.
Okay, fair enough then, yep.
That's why I changed it, because I originally had Tellez, but I thought he looked a bit knackered
Yes.
at the weekend, and he is a slight concern defensively. So I think if Luke Shaw's travelling, that means he's fit enough to play, so he's in. As I said, Matic in a holding midfielder role, Paul Labille on the left-hand side, Donny van der Beek on the right, Bruno just behind the front two of Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood.
I don't mind the look of that, and it reminds me as well of the Pogba Matic duo that we saw so effectively at the tail end of last season. I missed that, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of them doing the same thing. Who's that?
MPH.
Yes.
Matic, Pogba, Herrera.
That was what swept us to
when
glory.
Oli was at the wheel.
Hey, and then they started getting injured, and it all just started going wrong, didn't it?
But
Herrera's dead to me now,
Is it? I was glad that I wasn't at the game today, because I would have been in a dilemma: do I boo or not, or do I cheer or not? Because I used to love him.
I would have cheered him at the start.
I wouldn't have booed him
off.
No, I don't really.
You
know,
know,
you right there, but I don't ever.
When I met him and
claps him.
He was so nice to me and that. He said he would never leave, and then he leaves, and then he starts rolling around like.
They always break your heart, don't they, Joe? Opposition. No Upamecano for Leipzig. He's suspended.
Boom, boom, boom. Everybody say Deo, Deo.
Brings back fond memories, this. Good old days. Leipzig drew 3-3 with Bayern Munich, I believe. I think they're second in the table at the minute.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah,
like
they're doing
somewhere
all right.
in the Bundesliga.
What do you make of him? Are you worried about him? Are they any good?
I'm obviously worried because they are decent, but
yeah.
I don't know, because we're a bit shit. Like the first halves of so many games.
We're consistent, Joe.
We are consistent, but consistently shit in the first half of games. 5 games in a row away from home that we've won, having trailed in the Premier League. Like, it's so weird watching United, because the first half you sat there going, we're crap. This is awful. Everyone's got to go. Pogba's shit. Martial should never play again. Ollie's got to get sacked. What's Henderson doing? He's got silly gloves on for. You shouldn't have to use gloves. What are you? All that stuff.
You have marigolds on, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And then at half time, we make a sub and we're great. How stupid of me to realise we were shit the first. It's so confusing being a United fan. I think Leipzig are a good team. No Upamecano is supposedly a good thing, although I don't think he was any good at all against us last time. So
no, he wasn't,
what we lose in there, he just got destroyed by Rashford when he came on. I don't know. I'm concerned about him because I'm pretty much concerned about everyone United plays at the minute. Because in that period which we know we will have, where we concede a few set pieces, we allow a bit of pressure. Against Southampton, we conceded 2 in that time. Against West Ham, we luckily only conceded 1. If we're in that same position again, where we sit off, we let them build up a head of steam and start getting some set pieces, free kicks, corners. It depends how many we concede, because that spell will happen, and it's how we deal with it. If we concede 2 or more, I think we're done. But I don't think they're that good a team, and I do expect us to beat them overall. But it's that period I'm worried about, and I do expect it to happen.
They're not the Leipzig that got to the semis. They're not that team. And obviously, Timo Werner's a big miss. Deo's a big miss. But they still have threats, Yusuf Poulsen, Dani Olmo. They can do things which will cause you problems, and they can score goals as well. So I am worried by them, but I'm only worried if we don't perform. Because if we perform like we did at home against them, like we did away against PSG, even if we perform like we did at Old Trafford against PSG, we beat Leipzig.
How much do you think, just quickly, do you think you can look in at the game against Leipzig at Old Trafford? Do you think that was...
It wasn't a 5-0.
Because it's weird. If you look at it and go, we'll beat them 5-0 already.
It reminded me of, remember 4-0 FC?
Yes.
Under Jose?
Yes.
When we'd be winning 1-0, he'd change Martial for Rashford. Yep. So that means... Or Rashford for Martial. So then that one would come on the pitch thinking, all right, I've got to score now. And then they'd score, and it would just be 4-0.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's how that game went. We controlled it. It was 1-0. It was good. And then Rashford came on and was like, I'm scoring a hat-trick. So
first half, though, Leipzig were good.
Yeah.
And they did put us under some pressure, and we didn't really handle it that well. So, but again, back to my last point, we managed to stay 0-0 during that time. So when we did start getting the goals, we blew them away. But if we're 2-0 down,
How did we line up against them at Old Trafford?
it was a diamond. I think.
Wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, we played with the diamond, and we absorbed too much pressure in the first half. We weren't very good. But
Because
we
he
didn't
worked
concede,
against them
which
and
is
he thought
crucial.
our best use it against Arsenal.
Yeah,
didn't he?
exactly. But yeah, the crucial.
How did we
thing was that
lose
didn't
against
concede.
Arsenal?
Let's not. I know it's so annoying
Can't
and
get
frustrating, but
We can
we'll
talk all day
be
about that.
here all day and we'll send ourselves round
They're already-
the bend.
Flogging Arteta out shirts.
Someone's,
Can buy Arteta
you reap
in
what you
shirts
sow
or
when
Stretford
you
Paddock
actively.
graphic art.
Arteta in.
Yeah.
Arteta in. So you've got
Available.
to stick with him, lads. You've got to stick
We'll
with him.
flog the
If
t-shirts.
If there's one
for
thing
that.
I know about Mikel Arteta, you have to stick with him because success will come eventually. Even if it takes 30, 40, 50 years of relegation after relegation, it will come.
Nah,
Stick with him.
Arteta don't like success. He said, "What do I think of success? It sucks too much stress, I guess."
Was
Right.
that Arteta?
Yeah.
I think that was Jay-Z.
Who was it?
Arteta.
Predictions,
Vibes
score predictions.
Arteta.
I don't know what he's on about. Go on.
Prediction, I think it will be 1-1. I think we'll scrape through.
Say
It'll be
that.
horrible. It will be one of them where you go, did we even get through? We feel like I've been cheated and abused. But I think we'll get through just about, but it's going to be horrible. 1-1.
Because you have.
Right. Thank you. On that note, what's your prediction?
3-1 Manchester United.
Devastating prediction.
Controversial. 3-1. Take either of those results. I think it's going to be scrappy. I think it's going to be frustrating. I don't know. I'm with you. I think it's going to be a draw. I'll go with 2-2 just to be different. But do let us know what you think the score will be. Get involved in the chat. Get involved in the comments. We will have the watch along as well. We are on the watch along.
Yes, us three will be on the watch along. We'll
We
have
are the
Stephen
watch-along.
Howson for half-time as well. We'll be thrown over to him for all the updates and the stats and the socials. It's going to be a massive watch along. Massive, massive game tomorrow, isn't it?
And also for members, what have we got for members?
We've got all sorts coming out for members. This week we've got a very funny little outtakes video coming out for all the members. So all the great shows you know and love on Stretford Paddock. Well, let's be honest, sometimes we get it wrong, don't we, guys?
I don't.
He's actually the
One take Macca, we call
the
him.
worst for it. But yeah, we're going to be having an outtakes video coming
The
out
thing
for
is,
you.
I know what I'm doing. They just take them out anyway. So my outtakes are actually bits that I want to be left in.
No, we take them out because we don't want to get cancelled.
Yeah, and we'll see
That's
some of that on
why
the
we
outtakes video. But of course, we've
And you know that's the
also
truth.
got the 12 days of Christmas. For anyone who isn't a member, make sure you join. Click the join button, and you will be automatically entered to win a whole raft,
And
a
can I say
host
something?
of a smorgasbord of prizes, including a Sony PlayStation 5. Join the membership to be entered.
Go on.
We did a Premier League piss take today as well. The
We
best
did.
show on YouTube.
We did a Premier League piss take. That's going to be coming out in a couple of hours
be
as well,
fair,
so
he
make
has
sure you
got a
check that out.
I'll
We
give him
talk a
that
lot
one.
more about Arteta.
He
Nagelsmann.
agrees. He
Nagelsmann.
co-signs it.
Better than Arteta?
Don't steal my show. Don't put that thing.
Right,
away.
you can
It's
check
our
their
show.
show out anyway on video, but do actually check it out because, you know, they're actually pretty funny. That's been Joe Smith. That's been Adam McCullough. I've been Jay Motte. This has been the RB Leipzig preview. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Bye.